Welcome back, everybody. You got Will and I-Man here from the Block Runner MetaZone, Roby and MScribe. And today, what do we have here? Some NAT updates.
Another NATathon, dude. Finally.
Yeah. I mean, we've been itching to do another one.
Yeah, well, now we heard the public outcry, right? As another notable event has occurred, which is good. We always like to see those.
Yeah, I saw those tweets. I think it was like a day or... it was a day ago, yesterday.
It was yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you're wondering, why didn't you make this video yesterday, guys? It's because, well...
We don't record yesterday's.
Yeah. Sometimes some of our videos are pre-recorded from a day prior or whatever, because, as you know...
Yeah.
We have a lot of things to work on, you know? So it just so happens, you know, we can address this event a day later, in a sense.
Yeah.
So let's contextualize, like, what has happened in the past a little bit.
Yeah, so we did a video in the past when it was a $2 to $3 million market cap.
Yeah.
And we noticed something. We're like, wait a minute. AntPool has moved some NAT. And then we looked at their wallet, and then we found that they were selling NAT on Ornos wallet, and we sort of just talked about it. And then, sure enough, it went from 2 to 3 million all the way to 40 million.
Something like that in a couple weeks, right?
Not even a couple of days. It's like over a weekend.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, so people are asking why, right? You know, there's a couple of ways you can interpret these types of situations, right? It's like some saw this as like you know, validation, if you will, at least of the core fundamentals of this proposition of, you know, NAT serving as a subsidy to the miners, you know, AntPool actually activating that into reality. Proof of concept, right? That's a big deal. You can kind of extrapolate from there so long as there's a continuation of this for one.
Yeah.
And maybe even better, there's a subsequent follow-up from the rest of the miners or some other pocket of miners because, you know, these are independent entities. You know, some of them might have different ideologies or just different even jurisdictional requirements. Who knows?
Yeah.
They may behave or react differently to the knowledge that, you know, NAT exists, you know.
Correct.
Some are publicly traded, some are not.
Yeah.
So there's different expectations around that. But nonetheless, like, those are the things you want to see happen, right?
Yeah, so that happened maybe 3 weeks ago, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
And so it went to 40 million, and then it went down to 25, 20, and now it's at, you know, 18 million. But yesterday, AntPool moved their NAT again.
It's one of the things we were hoping to see, right? A continuation of this.
Right.
Yeah.
And when they did, I took a look at the market cap, and it was at 15 million. And today it's up $3 million.
Yeah, so, again.
And so one last thing. So when they moved their NAT the first time, they had about $15,000 worth of NAT. Remember, it was at $2 to $3 million market cap. They sold it. Then, you know, a few weeks later, they gained more NAT. They sold that, but they sold that at like $20,000 or $25,000.
Right.
And so significantly less NAT was sold for way more than, you know, a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, because that initial balance took, what, like 7 or 8 months to accrue, something like that? Because there's a long history, almost 2 years now, to NAT. You know, you can go all of it's archived and documented on this channel, like from the pre-inception phase to the deployment.
Not only that, if you want to see the exact moment we deployed it, go to our Twitter channel. The pinned tweet.
Oh, really?
Is that tweet?
That's our pinned tweet?
Yeah.
That makes sense. That was a pretty notable event.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to stay there for a minute. I don't know what would supplant that. It's like
yeah, I don't know. Maybe NAT gets to 1 billion.
Yeah, that'd be a pretty banger video.
Yeah.
Pretty cool tweet to have. Because, yeah, and that's a lot of implications happen at 1 billion, right? It's when we start to cross into the territory of, like, what's the word? You can't avoid it type situation, right? Because
you can't ignore it.
Yeah, it's non-ignorable at that point because it is going to be entering into the realm of in parity with the existing value of the fee market with Bitcoin itself, right?
That's right.
So
yeah,
everybody's going to have to take notice and understand, you know, NAT is actually contributing to a significant degree to, you know, the network security budget, right?
Yeah, and some of these companies are publicly traded, so they have public disclosures, and eventually NAT might end up in the bottom line of one of these public disclosures.
Yeah, which is again big milestones. So yeah, that would be a big one. So yeah, I mean, so contextualize a little bit more. How are these miners receiving these balances? In case for people who don't understand, like, what do you mean? There's a token out there that's being directed to Bitcoin miners.
Yeah, so if this is the first time you're hearing about the NAT token, you've probably, if you're in crypto Twitter, you might have gotten like a whiff of NAT here and there.
Maybe. Specifically Bitcoin crypto Twitter, probably.
Yeah, how big is crypto Twitter? Is it that big?
It's decently sized, I would say, but I think like the nexus of people interested in, Bitcoin related phenomena is a much smaller pocket than like the overall crypto Twitter. The overall crypto Twitter they're debating like, what's the next viral prediction market or the next Pokemon trading app, stuff like that, right? They're not paying attention to fundamental core issues around Bitcoin.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, I mean,
you might not know.
NAT has trended, at least in the crypto Twitter sense, and so you might have gotten a whiff of it. But anyway, if this is the first time you're hearing about it, NAT is the second subsidy to Bitcoin. So you might wonder, why do you need a second subsidy to Bitcoin? I thought Bitcoin's the greatest.
Yeah.
It is the greatest. Yes. However, it's not perfect. And it's not perfect for lots of reasons. For example, we're using Bitcoin as a store of value. It was supposed to be peer-to-peer cash, and so it was designed for peer-to-peer cash longevity, and so we're not really doing that.
Right.
And so as a second subsidy, it just goes to support Bitcoin's security budget, and the higher security budget means the higher the cost of attack, and therefore a place to store your wealth.
Right.
Because if the security budget dwindles, as it is doing, then the cost of attack is lower, and therefore store your wealth somewhere else.
Yeah, well, why is it dwindling? Like, because there's
there's two factors, right? So the long-term longevity of Bitcoin relies on fees.
Yeah, like at least that's what's described in Satoshi's white paper, right?
Yeah, and that's how Bitcoin's designed, really.
Because there's a definite end to the subsidy in 2140.
Correct. So each of the miners mining Bitcoin, right now they're earning 3.125 Bitcoin plus fees.
Yeah.
Right.
But right now, fees are negligible, right? So from a miner perspective, it's not really why they're mining.
Correct. They're mining because of the subsidy, which is the incentive to mine.
Today,
yeah.
But objectively, at some point in the very distant future, that will no longer be the case. But
it depends on how distant you want to go, because unless you are relying on Bitcoin doubling, and if you want to go into the math, definitely tune into the podcast. It's going to be on Saturday, but we're going to go deep into the math on why doubling for the next 29 halvings doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, at least not from a historical context, from like
physics context.
Yeah, mathematics.
Yeah, math context doesn't make sense.
Doesn't fit within the realm of like expected
possibilities.
Yeah, value ratios.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it can't happen, but the probability of it happening is so infinitesimally small that it's unlikely to.
Yeah, so this is a complex, I guess, issue that is not widely discussed in the context of, what the public zeitgeist is when you think about Bitcoin, right? Because you see headlines of it nonstop for the last 2 years now of its continually increasing value. And if you understand the contextualized history of Bitcoin, it started at like less than $1 in value, like pennies, right? Like very cheap in the earliest of days. And now it's this behemoth of a financial asset that's now getting like institutional adoption and support. You see people on CNBC every single day talking about how great it is. You see these wealthy billionaires saying that you need to sell your house right now to buy Bitcoin because it's without a doubt going to outperform every other asset on earth.
Yeah, someone sold their $43 million house to buy Bitcoin.
What, recently?
Yeah.
Holy crap, dude. See, it's happening, right? So you hear headlines like that, and it's like there could never be, there's no way there's something wrong with that thing, right?
Right, yeah.
And in a lot of cases, these people who are touting this proposition to Earth, this financial proposition where you need to liquidate all other things in existence.
Even your own home.
Your own home, your family, you don't need them anymore.
Yeah.
You need to dissolve your family, whatever that's costing
Liquidate them.
Liquidate your existence on Earth and transition it all to Bitcoin value, because I guarantee you it's going to outgain anything your family would bring you, right? Or your home.
That
or
is what they're saying.
your
Yes.
business, everything. There's no point in even competing in the rails of capitalism anymore,
That is what they're saying.
right? Just
Yes.
everything, full port.
Yes.
So how could there be anything wrong with this thing,
Right.
right?
How could there?
If that's what people are telling you to do.
Yeah. But there is.
There's a problem, right?
Yeah.
It's so it's not unexpected to imagine a scenario where these people are so financially vested in securing this perception of untamperable financial growth,
Sure.
to not be telling you the full scope and picture of the reality of what's happening.
Yeah. So in other words, if you port your entire net worth into Bitcoin, you will directly ignore any potential fallacies or inconsistent design mechanics that make your investment invalid.
Yeah, or like adds friction, right? In other words, why would you FUD your own bag, right?
Yeah.
We've been in crypto long enough to know that's not what people typically do. Right? They'll do whatever it takes to masquerade any potential FUD vectors and to, psyop the public. Because why? They have a great interest in, number go up technology.
Right. And for you watching, that's why you're watching this channel, because you're about the more practical approach.
Mm-hmm.
You want to actually address some problems. And so therefore NAT exists to address that problem. Now, if you want to learn more, tune into the podcast because we're going to go deeper into this. So now NAT token being the second subsidy, there's a wildly justifiable case to support a second subsidy. And it's happening to the degree that the second largest miner in Bitcoin has liquidated their assets twice.
Yes, twice.
And so you could argue.
That's why there's like a big hole there, right? Between first and third.
Yeah, so this is the NAT balance of Foundry. You have 3.4 trillion. And we have Via BTC number 3 at 1.4 trillion. But AntPool, only 21 billion. What happened there?
Yeah, where'd theirs go, dude?
Yeah, they sold it. And you know why? Because they're trying to gain an advantage in a competing marketplace so that they can acquire additional hash power to outcompete its competitors, which is what you want.
Or they
got a bunch of
they
steak
blew it
dinners.
all. Yeah, they blew it all in a Dubai nightclub.
Sure.
Steak dinners and big bottles of champagne for all. It's like, thanks, Nat guys.
Yeah, and pretty soon you're going to be able to do that again.
True. Yeah,
and then eventually what's going to happen is people are going to become aware of this and they're going to send this to 1 billion. And then you know what they're going to have to do? They're going to have to disclose this on their public disclosures, because now someone like Foundry, they have $8.9 million in their balance sheet. There's not enough nightclubs where you can spend this money at.
It's true. From there, the reality becomes a little different, right? This isn't like nightclub money. This is, oh shit, I need to get more hardware so that I can earn more of this stuff.
That's right.
Because every single time I mine a block, I'm not just receiving Bitcoin, I'm getting $1,000 worth of NAT too. Yeah. Which theoretically, in the future, you scroll this thing all the way to the right, it far outpaces the existing subsidy rewards of Bitcoin itself.
Congrats,
right?
dude.
Which is per the design and per the underlying intent, right, to addressing this core problem, because the nature of Bitcoin is that every 4 years it's cut in half, this distribution, this emission of Bitcoin.
That's right.
So that makes the lives of these miners, which they play that essential component within the network, securing everything, right? Everything, all the properties that make Bitcoin this perceivably, super valuable thing on Earth that we all need to liquidate our existence for. Like, that is the underlying foundation to it all, is this the security element, right?
Yeah. The security, therefore making the cost of attack higher. And that's what you want. If you're a Bitcoiner, you want the cost of attack to be so high that there's not enough energy found on the planet to attack Bitcoin. That's what you want.
Yeah, so there's going to be I mean, the more and more we kind of go deeper into this, and as market cap rises, as holder count expands, as potentially more and more miners come online to start to, again, activate this process, and again, further cementing, I guess, the fundamentals, if you will, of NAT itself.
Yeah.
I don't know, the more the implications start to be felt, at least for me, in a sense that, I could foresee a lot of different opinions as far as like, how would you perceive this new reality, right? Within the context of like what Bitcoin is, especially if you understand like the underlying wrapper for all this, it's a whole framework called digital matter theory, which we haven't even discussed. Yeah. So this thing goes deep, and which is why we're working on a NAT paper, if you will, to kind of further explain this in a much broader scope to really cohesively align everybody who is in agreement that Bitcoin isn't perfect.
Yeah.
And B, it's in dire need of somebody stepping up with some sort of proposed solution that has some long-term viability without altering anything of like the core architecture around Bitcoin itself.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
So if you agree with that, then it's like you might want to understand this underlying framework and wrapper called DMT and understand these bigger implications around that.
Yeah,
right?
And if you don't understand, you want to learn more, definitely we invite you to read the NAT paper, which is not released yet.
Yeah, you can't really do that yet.
And if you disagree with our premise, please read the NAT paper and let's discuss.
Yeah. Yeah, we're in constant back and forth, right? I mean, the idea is we wanted to get this out like in a week or two or less.
Was it?
I mean, I guess we really didn't have like an agreed upon like how long this should take.
Yeah.
But we wanted it to be concise, at least initially. Like it's just very like, I don't know, like not be intimidated by this thing the way a lot of people are with like, white papers, right?
Yeah. And as you can see here as I scroll, it's sort of a little bit of an inviting white paper.
Of an experience, right?
Yeah. It's quite the experience.
Yeah.
And I don't think people are going to have too much trouble reading through this because it's not like just like a brick of text.
That's what I mean. Yeah, we didn't want that because I felt like, if we came up with that, which is, read Bitcoin's original white paper, that's what it is. You read the Ethereum white paper, that's what it was.
Yeah.
You read most of these technical white papers and such, it's, it scares away some demographic, right? Of course, it's digestible to, the hardcore cypherpunks and whatnot.
Yeah.
Developers and programmers and such. But we want this to really be as approachable to as wide of a demographic as possible.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think we've accomplished that. So there's a couple of more things we need to add to the NAT paper before we release it. And
yeah, so you say that, but then I think we'll stumble upon more things that may need to be added because, I don't know, it's like a constantly evolving story.
Yeah, because I think our understanding of Bitcoin is evolving from not from like, what is Bitcoin's price going to be next year? That's what everybody's talking about. Fidelity predicted Bitcoin be $1 billion in about 10 years from now.
Yes.
Right. And so that's what people would like to hear, but we're thinking about more longer term. And so that's why we're continuously adjusting our understanding of Bitcoin.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, the injection of NAT into like essentially like an overall health report of the state of Bitcoin, it introduces you to new possible vectors of like, what else can be done to further contribute on this end of reinforcing this underlying value component to Bitcoin itself, which is this, what do you call it? The cost of attack.
That's right.
That's the big thing and NAT alone doesn't have to be the only solution to that.
No, it doesn't. Absolutely not. There should be tons of contributions to increasing the cost of attack.
Yeah.
All right, so let's continue. And just to be complete here, so this is how deep this is why this is a big deal, guys. AntPool just moving and selling a bunch of assets, like, doesn't seem like that's a big deal, but what they're doing is they're actually part of the community and interacting with meta protocols, right? It's so easy just to kind of send a miner, here's like a shitcoin, or here's a picture on Bitcoin called spam, apparently. And, they got it. But them interacting with it is something different. And the way that they interact with it is by using the tap protocol. And they tap this, and they're able to move their asset from their Coinbase wallet to their hot wallet, which they can go and connect to
Ornos wallet?
Ornos wallet and sell their assets.
Yeah. For now, yeah. So, yeah, that's true. That is, again, another reinforcing of the validation of the fundamentals around it, right?
Yeah.
Proving the concept, proving that it works. So all the other miners can replicate the same thing.
Yeah, 100%, yeah. So this is what happened a day ago. AntPool moved it to their hot wallet, and then they subsequently sold it. Where did they sell it? You go to Ordos wallet, and you can verify. So they sent it to this address called Q00MN, and you go look this up, and you find this address sold to that address, and then sold again. So that's how we can tell. All right, so what else? And so if you're wondering how this all works, you can look at their address and see what is actually being inscribed into Bitcoin to actually make those transfers. And so this is what a JSON inscription looks like. This data is embedded into Bitcoin, and it's sending a signal to the indexer to update the balances here. And so that's how that works. But yeah, I mean, what's the takeaway? We got a second interaction from AntPool. I guess the bigger signal will be a second miner interacting with NAT, and so that will be kind of like proves the point. This is a signal, not an anomaly.
Yeah, and it's an interesting, I don't know, thing that I guess you're seeing a lot of contention happening within the Bitcoin community between core and NOTs developers and such like that, and node runners and such like. This is a completely independent facet within the ecosystem of Bitcoin, right? Like, and a reasoning for people who are in more support of core and things like inscriptions and such to, not favor censorship and such. Like, really, it's the economic incentives that will kind of dictate in a free market environment around Bitcoin itself.
And
right?
We're actively seeing it right now as they've sold this asset, right?
Yeah. So again, like things like NOTs and other technical, I guess, solutions out there that are devised in support of like a single ideology around like, what is the intended use case of Bitcoin?
Yeah.
What is the properties of Bitcoin that make it that valuable thing on Earth? There's a sector camp of people that, only identify it as digital money, right? And they only want to see it utilized as that. And anything else, including NAT or any other inscription protocol or Ornos itself, runes, whatever, all that stuff is at the detriment of that core intended purpose. So by ridding Bitcoin of this vector of possibility, you're eliminating a potential solution that existing miners are actively putting into use, right?
Yeah, which means that you are relying on Bitcoin doubling for 29 straight halvings. And so again, if you want to know what that true number is, tune into the podcast because we're going to break it down.
Yeah. Yeah, let us know, your polymarket bets.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, what do you think the number is going to be after, 29 halvings if you double it? Just put a number down below. Let us know what you think. And, and if you guys have any questions around what NAT is,
join the Telegram.
There's 800 people in there talking about NAT daily. So if you're a NAT fanatic, that's your place.
Yeah, I agree.
Or a lunatic?
Yeah, anything but Nazi, dude. We're not going to do that.
No, definitely not.
Those are the Nazis. KNOT. Right? Knots. I don't think they call themselves that, but that's what people call them.
Yeah.
You could say NAT in a lot of ways. Fanatics, lunatics, psychonats.
Yes.
Whatever, dude. If you're a NAT joiner, just join the community because people are actively talking this stuff all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's an absence of like substance in this market these days.
Still.
And probably for a while, right?
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's it for us. Appreciate you guys for watching, and we will catch you in the next video.